Yeah, you know who it is. You know who it is. If you don't, it's your boy Shake. What up, 2K fans? You know who it is. If you don't, it's your boy Shake, and I've got a special appearance, a special guest, my homie KspadeDaProspect. Say what's up to the people, K.
Hey, what's good, folks? Y'all know.
And you know what time it is. It's that time of year, man.
Already?
Absolutely. You know 2K, they only good for 2 good patches a year, right?
Right.
And this is one of them. This is patch 3. And you would think that patch 1 and patch 2 would have been it, but since they can adjust the game on the fly, you know what I'm saying, they might be doing things that we don't even know about.
Right.
So it's time to dive into this. This whole talk is about what we can expect, or what we expect to see in patch 3. This is not about, what is in patch 3, because we know there's been light discussion, but these are some things that we would love to see in patch 3. And these are some of the things that we feel are game breaking, and there's a lot of competition out right now. There's all these other games that are distracting people, and if 2K wants to keep that fan base popping, these are some of the things that we think they could use to keep the game rolling and keep us comfortable for the remainder of this year, man. We don't want to be frustrated all year, right, Spade?
And you want the whole life cycle of your game, and you want to play it until the new one comes out.
That's right. So let's start up with gameplay. All right, I'm gonna let you kick that off. Give me some things about gameplay, that you feel that need to be addressed immediately. Maybe your number one thing off the top of your head.
Number one thing for me, I'm gonna go with some of the animations that I can't break when I want to break. I'm still seeing that hesitation. Like, let's say you hit somebody with a nice crossover, a nice ISO move, and you actually get them going the other direction, and you want to instantly attack the basket, but you got it's like a little, I don't know, you have to finish the animation before you can move forward. That kills me. I want that gone, Shake. I hate that.
That is what I call the auto hesitation.
I hate that.
And that auto hesitation is game breaking for me. Absolutely game breaking. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking the same thing. Last year for NBA 2K15, I coined the phrase auto hesitation. I kept saying we got to remove these auto hesitations. Put out a video called the top 10 things I don't want to see in 2K16, and that was at the top of the list. And they removed them. In fact, when they patched the game, they actually called it the auto hesitation, saying that they removed it out of the game. And in NBA 2K15, once they removed it, the game flowed a lot better. Now, I'm not going to discuss 2K15 in that regard because 2K15 was coined as pretty much the cheesiest 2K of all time. But moving on, auto hesitations have to go. They have to go, man. It's killing the game. I can't move forward. I do a crossover and my man hits an invisible wall. Come on, son.
Do you feel like it's been, is it nerfed a little? Like at times it seems like it's not as bad, but it's definitely still present. It is.
Well, I don't want it to be sometimes. I want it to be all the time. Like,
I'm with you.
Here's my thing. Like when I say by sometimes, it's too unpredictable. Like if I do a deadly crossover and I break a man's ankles, I'm not even talking about getting him leaning. I'm talking about breaking his ankles and I can't move forward. I'm hitting some Jean Grey force field that I can't quite move forward, and I'm like, what's going on here? It's like I'm running in quicksand, and it's killing the game for me, man. I mean, the game flows really well when it wants to, but then there's those moments where it just kills me. What's up? What else is on your list? Name something else you're thinking of that really is bothering you right now.
I might fall into that category of being the old grumpy man. But I'm going to tell you another big thing with 2K that just infuriates me. And I'm sure you've experienced this. Anybody who's played this game has experienced it. How many times during a game do you hear yourself or a teammate say, I wasn't trying to do that? It's too many times that I can't do what I want to do. Case in point, Euro step. So many times when I try to Euro, I do a floater. When I try to do the floater, I Euro. I don't want those commands to be so close to one another that it's a chance the game can mistaking what I want to do. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
That's huge, because a floater and a Euro step are two totally different attacks.
Right.
In terms of scoring, one, you're floating the ball up at somewhere around the free throw line or further away from the basket, trying to avoid getting blocked.
Right.
Whereas the other one, you're charging into the basket, potentially having that opportunity to get blocked, and you can result in a huge fail if you make a mistake and do the wrong one. Especially if you're a big man or a bigger player like a LeBron or a small forward, and you're trying to do the Euro step to get in there, like James Harden or something. Right. I've experienced that myself. And although I have tried my hardest to kind of master that, I'm still getting that every now and then, especially on the park. One thing that I'm dealing with myself is the blocking. How do you feel about the blocking in this year's game?
I just think the success rate is a little high. If you made a big, you want to be able to block shots, and I understand that. And I welcome it, but sometimes I don't feel like they should all be so clean. You can go to the basket with like a dipsy-do dunkaroo windmill, and it won't be any contact. It won't be a fight. It'll just be the cleanest block ever. And I'm like, man, like some of these blocks are just, I feel like they need to be nerfed a little. That might not be the popular opinion, but that's just how I feel.
We're always saying that we want better ball tangibility. But I think for me, all I want to say is reduce the blocking for the guards at least. Like, why is it that point guards are slapping centers? You know what I'm saying? Slapping small forwards. I mean, I've seen point guards just throwing everybody's stuff. And I'm a shooting guard, and I'm getting a lot of blocks, and it feels good. But I feel like my guy's a little taller. I'm kind of timing things. Attacking a center while he's going for a dunk is going to be successful. But whenever it is, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that. You know what I'm saying? So I should feel like he's going to dunk on me. And that is more or less how I should feel, as opposed to, I have a chance to block this.
or even I'll take the foul. But I do want to say before you move forward, if it's a situation where it's tough to tweak, because this is one of those topics where depending on who you're talking to, some people going to love it, some people going to hate it. I would take this over the alternative of nothing being blocked. It'll just force people to play differently. You'll just have to settle for more jump shots and not attack the basket as much.
But just at least for the point guards, kind of nerf it for the point guards at least.
Smaller guys in general.
What do you think of the small forwards in this year's game?
From what I've been told, because I've never made a small forward, I've never played with a small forward. But from those that have, they feel like it's been made, I don't know, it's like a non-factor this year. One guy in particular that is always a small forward said this year, he just made the tallest shooting guard that he could make. And with his Pro-Am crew, of course, because of the height, it still plays him at the 3, but he's having more success as a 2 guard than he is at 3. So I know the small forward was a issue of concern because everybody was just making, LeBron James, basically.
I hear you. I've never actually made a small forward to use online. I have a friend of mine who's pretty beast with a small forward, and the most success that I've seen with people using small forwards is in MyCareer mode. I see people getting quad doubles, quad dubs, and I see a lot of that kind of stuff. Triple doubles, quad dubs on in MyCareer. And it's like the moment they take that player into the Pro-Am or onto the park, it's like, yeah, man, you're not really a factor out here because the jumper's not falling. They can't stay with the guards. They can't keep up. You know what I'm saying? And the only real good they're good for is, potentially blocking shots. And even then, a center and a power forward is going to be more effective. And most centers and most bigs can score better than the small forwards in the paint anyway. So True. The small forward, you're right. It seems like they're really good for an offline experience. That's why I had, last year I had a point guard. This year I have a shooting guard. I still run the point for the Pro-Am for my squad. But at the same time, MyPlayer is more of an all-round. I can play the park. I can play MyCareer. I can get the gist of everything. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of everything. But I have seen a lack of small forwards on the park. And right. It's the truth. It doesn't seem like people are attracted to that position. For me, I was just saying, stop letting people run around with 7-foot small forwards doing Kyrie Irving dribbles. That's all I was saying. You know what I mean? That doesn't really sit well with me because it's unrealistic. But it seemed like they really shut the small forward all the way down this year. So last thing I want to say in terms of gameplay, one other thing that I had a problem with, and I've been saying this all year, that the passing has been improved to a certain extent. I feel like it's a little bit more streamlined than before, and over the past few years, especially left stick directional passing, it used to be horrible. It's a little better now, slightly smarter passes, but I still have the occasional idiot mistake where you're trying to get it to the guy right there on your left, and he passes it all the way down court or way over to somebody else. The biggest issue that I have is the random overhead passing in bad situations. In my opinion, I was almost thinking that maybe they shouldn't even have overhead passing unless I hit the triangle button. When I do the kick out, sometimes he does that overhead pass and it hits the bottom of the rim or the backboard, or it gets deflected because it's a slower pass.
I honestly don't think directional passing is any better, to be honest with you. I don't trust it, and it's like you said, sometimes it works perfectly, but so many times it doesn't. And you would just hate to lose a game on that. Oh God, that's not who I'm throwing to. I have those moments. So I'm just a fan of icon passing, for one.
Absolutely.
For two, the overhead passing is weird because a lot of times when I see that backboard hit, it's a guy like under the basket, and like you said, he kind of gets trapped. The defense is there. He wants to and really the overhead pass is bad too, but it's the jumping overhead pass that absolutely has to go. You see this guy under the basket, he'll like jump and turn in the air and throw it over his head and hits the back of the backboard every time. And I don't understand why he has to jump and turn and throw. Even if he just turned on his pivot foot and threw a simple overhead pass, I don't think it would be that bad. It's that jumping one that just has to go.
Do you think they could just mocap a couple bigs in the paint?
Yeah, hit
pass
me
it
up,
out of the paint and see if they get some better animations.
I got him, Shake. I'll do it. Just
I
throw me in the soup, man. I got you.
No doubt. Let's move on to the park. Have you been on the park lately?
I have.
The black glitch, the black world glitch is what I want to call it. Like you spawn into the park and everything's all black. You're running around the park. Every time I go on Xbox, there's a bit of a crowd when I get there, right? And typically my subscribers, they'll glitch somehow. They'll glitch the court, and there's like 3 or 4 guys running across my court. I'm thinking they're part of the game. They're just running up and down the court while we're playing. There's like 7 guys on the court, 8 or 9 guys on the court on a 3v3. You know what I'm saying? So things like that need to definitely be patched. Hopefully it gets patched in patch 3. What do you think? What are some things have you seen on the park that you think could definitely be addressed?
The only thing I've seen is I had a situation where a team was on a win streak. 2 guys got off. 1 guy stayed on the court. He's standing on the court waiting for 2 more people to get on the spots. Me and my squad, we're on the squad spots. Instead of some guys getting on the run with him, 3 guys went and got on the spots to the left of us, which I thought wouldn't work. And instead it put my 3 on against their 3 and left the guy who had just won standing in the court. So this guy stood there for our entire game. That was the craziest thing I've seen. As far as my big complaint over there, I want to see like the grade system tweaked a little bit. I mean, if you finish a park game 2 of 3, I don't think it should come back and tell you had a poor performance. I feel like that encourages people to jack bad shots. You got so many guys at the park that just play like they playing for a NBA contract. They going so hard. I don't know if it's the leaderboards that's luring these guys into playing like such buttholes, if it's just that rating system. But I don't like to see a poor beside a 2 or 3 shooting performance. You just play within the the flow of the game. Maybe your guy was guarding you closer than your teammate, so you fed the rock out.
Another thing that I noticed as well is that they have incorrect matchups. Like today I was on the court and I was guarding the power forward, and my center, he was guarding the point guard. So there's an immediate mismatch. And I know some of the veterans out there would just switch up. Well, the problem is the game is constantly telling you who you're supposed to guard. So if you don't have communication with the other guy that needs to switch up, you're both gonna be guarding the wrong guy in a couple of situations, and it results in 3-pointers and a whole lot of mishaps.
Not just that, Shake, but even if you and your teammates switch up, that's fine until it's a foul and they take the ball out at the top of the key. The game is going to put you back on who it thinks you're supposed to be guarding. So it's going to be situations where it's going to force you to guard the wrong person. So
absolutely. You got to stay with them. You got to, and if they know how to exploit it, the big will go down into the paint and get that bucket on you, especially when it's game point.
Yes, sir.
So it's crazy. I think they need to really fix that. The whole holding and breaking the got next, that's still a problem. That was a problem in 2K14.
Right.
It was a problem in 2K15, and here we are again, 2K16. And this is why I'm gonna tell people, I don't care what y'all say anymore, got next has to go. And you have to understand that there's a plethora of games out there that are doing the whole meetup session and then gaming together way better than this got next situation. You know, in fact, you could still have a scenario where people can run around and meet up and dance in front of each other, do a whole bunch of emotes, and still link up with friends and play immediately with no got next. And I understand y'all like the idea of when you lose, you know, put somebody off the court or playing against the same team again. I'm thinking, hey, there may be some options that they can put in, you know, in place in the future where you can have an option to rematch people if people aren't around, things like that. But there's so many other ways to do it. I'm not going to get into that now. We can save that for another video. At the end of the day, the God Next is still broken. Come on, son. We need to move on. Now, going on to, speaking of moving on, but let's talk about MyCareer real quick.
Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts on MyCareer? Give me one thing that's on the top of your mind right now that definitely needs to be addressed for patch 3 if it's possible.
First thing, Shake, I know we're supposed to be addressing issues. I kind of want to compliment MyCareer. I think MyCareer is the best it's ever been this year. I'm really enjoying it for the most part. Of course, my biggest complaint for this mode goes back to the field goal percentage that the computer is making. And I see what they try to do. They try to balance out the shooting when you're subbed out. Like when you're in the game, the computer literally makes everything. And then when you look at the end of the game, you go, oh, well, this guy missed 6 shots. But he didn't miss any of those 6.
No, he didn't miss 6 shots.
He didn't miss any when you was on the court, though, Shake. He missed them all while you were subbed out. That's my biggest complaint. The computer continues to make ridiculous shots, contested shots. And wait, let me throw one more thing in there. What about the guy that's driving to the basket and you break off of your matchup and you rotate perfectly and you meet him at the basket, he's in the air and he breaks out of his layup or dunk animation, goes like no look behind the back wraparound pass right on the money to the guy you just left for the 3. That's got to go, man.
It seems like everybody can pass like that, right? Like everybody's Chris Paul all of a sudden.
Yep.
It's crazy. One thing that I noticed also is that matchup glitch where you're just standing there and your matchup is standing there and it's like it's supposed to show the wording, but he's just breathing and you're sitting there for like a good 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I know it's a little thing, but for me after a while, I'm like, come on, man. Who didn't play MyCareer mode before the game came out? Y'all didn't notice this glitch? Come on, son. But that ridiculous score increase during substitutions was on my list. It's the top thing on my list. I'm in the game playing 10 minute quarters on Hall of Fame. The moment coach takes me out, we might be winning by 10 points. The game is now tied. And I look at the box score, and whoever was 100% man, you know, the superhero on the team, he's now somehow missed seven shots. I don't know where them 7 shots came from. Also, you know, when it's only like 50 seconds left in the game or 1 minute left in a quarter, coach subs you out. When the next quarter begins, the game is tied. You know what I'm saying? It's just you was up by 7 or 8 points in under 15 seconds. You know, sometimes it's like 30 seconds left in the game, and all of a sudden the game is tied or they're up by 10. You're just like, how? How did you score all them points in 1 minute? You know what I'm saying? We was locking you down this whole time. How did you get this score increase? So those kind of balance issues in a small amount of time are extremely unrealistic. Now we're gonna go on to the main course, and we're gonna wrap this talk up. Let's talk about Pro-Am, aka Crew, or what you're gonna do. I'm gonna let you kick this one off. Give me some things you think they could do for the Pro-Am that can improve the Pro-Am situation that we have right now.
For starters, I want a clear explanation of what's going on with the leaderboards. Why can I win 20 games and move 10 spots up the leaderboard, but lose one game and fall 50 spots back? Why is that? Why is it teams on the leaderboards with fewer wins and a worse win percentage higher on the leaderboards than me? I just want that to be explained because we can't figure it out. We got some pretty smart guys over here, Shake. We can't figure it out. That's my biggest complaint. And then, like you said, it's some small things that might not be that big to other people. I actually took the time to go through and assign all of my stadium sounds. I'm not hearing those in the game. That's something that I clearly want to see fixed. And it's a big contrast in how this mode works for PlayStation 4 users as opposed to XB1 users. I have both consoles. PlayStation 4, don't get me wrong, I know 2K is in the bed with Sony. I'm cool with all that. But my PlayStation 4 Pro-Am, we have no problems. We just get in, we run. On XB1, man, we still fighting to get 5 people in games. I mean, it's too late in the release of this game for people to still be having issues where they can't get in and play the mode that they want to play. We got to get that tightened up.
And it seems to me that the Pro-Am was tacked on a little later. Like it wasn't actually part of the game. It was something that was danced around with or was on the back burner, and they kind of slipped it in later while everybody was playing MyCareer mode, if I'm not mistaken. Because it seems like Pro-Am has been broken since the release of the game. And I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm just saying this was the first thing they advertised and probably the last thing actually installed into the game. At least get some reputation so they can advance themselves in the MyPark. And I understand that Pro-Am and the park is supposed to be separated, so that's probably to answer that question why they won't give us any reputation. But there's really no incentive to finish games. We go to the Pro-Am if you go in as a walk-on or as a walk-on team. Usually I go in as a walk-on with a walk-on team when I'm playing with a lot of my subscribers or just random friends that I'm not necessarily sure how we mesh together. Yep. There's no penalty for quitting, and there's really no reward for staying. I mean, you're getting like maybe 400, anywhere between 400 to 500 VC to stick around. Last year on the Rec Center, we were getting 1,000 VC for a good game and more. So there's really no incentive to sticking around. And I'm starting to think that maybe they didn't think this through all the way, in terms of how to keep the Pro-Am an attractive mode. And I would hate for them to say, see, nobody wants to play the Pro-Am. That's why we got rid of crew in the first place,
Which is what I fear is coming too, Shake.
Yeah. It's almost like you didn't show it no love in the first place. You didn't give it that tender love and care. And so now you're going to use this as an excuse to get rid of it. Come on, please don't do that to the Pro-Am. We just want you to do it right. And, if reputation and more VC is not enough, people are just quitting. There's no real incentive. And lately, it's just been boring. There's no commentary. They don't even call your name out when you score. Did you know on the Rec Center, you go back to 2K15, when you score, they calling your name out?
Say your nickname. Yep.
They say your nickname.
Yep.
So there's no sound. There's nothing going on. You hear the crowd, and the crowd is not even into it. Only time they get excited is if the game is extremely close. And last but not least, in terms of the Pro-Am, of course, there's other things that we could touch on, but that's too much time. Got more than enough time to discuss that in other videos. But come on, son. Custom home and away jerseys.
Thank you.
How in the hell was this mode released without custom home and away jerseys? Like, I'm just saying. I mean, we got a lot of teams. At first, my team was wearing black, and I kept running into black teams.
Black jerseys,
then I switched to white jerseys, and we run into all these white jersey teams. And God forbid you have an unorthodox color like orange or something like that, right? And then you run into an orange team.
Yep.
Now you really gonna deal with a situation.
you know something that's weird, Shake, to piggyback off of that? I didn't realize this at first, but I recently realized that the Pro-Am, your guy is set up with home and away shoes. I don't know if you noticed this, because a lot of people might have the same shoe equipped, but I noticed that if we was away, my guy was wearing different shoes. So why in the hell do I have home and away shoes, but we gotta keep the tie, because we washing the uniform every day. We just wearing the same uniform every day, same color.
It's not just shoes; it's home and away accessories. Like I wear a sleeve on my right arm, I believe, when I play away games, and when I'm at home, I don't wear the sleeve. And so I see the sleeve, I see accessories for when I'm playing in away games. It's accessories, different shoes.
Crazy.
So it's there, man. It's obvious that there's the things that they're trying to, or whatever was supposed to be there is it's like you could tell that it just didn't work right. Like there's something that's broken with it. Now, all in all, and this is us in closing. I mean, we're gonna go ahead and close this up and wrap this up. As a whole, I'm really enjoying NBA 2K16. I think it's a phenomenal basketball game, but there's always these little nuances, these little things that we think that need to be addressed prior to the next patch, so that these things can get in there and help us enjoy the game longer. Basketball is my life, man. This is my game. You know what I'm saying? And it's always going to be my number one game. And I just want to be able to enjoy it the whole year. So anything else you got to say, Spade, to wrap things up?
Nah, man, just to piggyback off of you, we just want the game to be as great as it can be. I want the full life cycle out of my game. I'm cheap. When I spend 60, I want 12 months out of it, bro.
I hear you on that, fam. We love the game, and this is coming from the heart. At the same time, come on, son. 2K, you know that's some trash. Fix that Pro-Am, son. It's your boy Shake, my man K-Spade. Say peace to the people.
All right, folks, we out.